In it comes. There goes the shot on goal. It's in. It's in. Jamie Dwyer.
Heavy lifting. Goes up the ground. Takes the lead. Looks a winner. Draws away from the Australians have just broken the American stranglehold on this race.
Now, I usually begin these chats by rolling off a list of achievements and accomplishments, but things are a little different for my next guest because she is only just embarking on what we hope is a long career. But it's for this reason, which is why I'm so looking forward to chatting with her. And it's why it's an extraordinarily unique look at one of our Aussie Olympic hopefuls, because how often do we get to chat with somebody so young competing at the top level? For what it's worth, she is a dual silver medalist at this year's Aquatic World Championships. She's already earned herself the nickname of WA's Backstroke Queen, and she's only 18 years old. Her name is Iona Anderson. She's with me now on the path to Paris. Iona, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for taking the time. And I do mean this wholeheartedly. I'm genuinely so intrigued to chat with you today because you are by far the youngest of the athletes we've had on this series. How does that feel at the age of 18 that you are a genuine chance at racing in the Olympic Games?
It's a bit surreal. Like, I always thought about like the Olympics would be in like 2028. Like, that would be like the closest, the next first opportunity that I would get to possibly be on the team. Whereas, so it's come around a bit quick for me, but I mean, I'm welcoming it wholeheartedly.
I understand. You started out as a gymnast.
Yeah, I did gymnastics up until the age of 12, and then I made the switch to swimming. So I think I just turned 12 and then I quit gymnastics because they moved the comps around. So like they made them later in the year, and I wasn't fully committed to doing another whole year of gymnastics. So I made the switch to swimming. Did
you enjoy gymnastics when you were doing it?
I did enjoy it. Like, I enjoyed the tumbling aspect. I wasn't a big fan of the strength aspect at the time.
Okay.
But I've grown to like enjoy that more now with like swimming career.
Yeah, cool.
I also made the switch to swimming because I thought it'd be easier to manage with like going to high school and all that. But as I found, it's just made actually worse.
Oh no. Now, I am the most horrible swimmer. However, if there was one stroke I could semi-do, it was backstroke. So we've got that. Has it always been backstroke? Like, were you instantly like drawn to that, or how did that come about?
I remember when I first went into like a natural proper swim squad that I got told to pick a form stroke. So form's any stroke other than freestyle.
Okay.
So I got told to pick a form stroke, and I hated breaststroke with a passion. I didn't like butterfly because it was a bit too hard. So I was like, oh, I'll pick backstroke because I can breathe the whole time. So this is where I've ended up. So I actually, I was never really a freestyler myself. So I stuck with backstroke.
Tell me about the value that sport has provided to your life, because, you know, it's a question that I ask most of our guests. But as a young person, I'm really fascinated to hear about the value that sport has provided to your life.
Sport has always been a big part of my childhood growing up and like my way of life. Like, I've never really not done sport. So I really, like, I value sport. Like, it gives me like, it teaches me how to be like a better person. Like, it teaches me like courage, like how to commit and like be brave, and like also like that failure is okay and how to overcome certain like challenges, etc.
Yeah, that is... Okay, the concept that failure is okay, it's amazing to hear that, especially from a young person, because I think, and this is what I was sort of getting at earlier, I think we are presented with a world of perfection. Like, I'm talking Instagram, TikTok, you know, we're seeing a lot of, I actually am grateful recently that we are seeing some people who are, you know, happy to share and be vulnerable, but the ability to fail, that's what, for me, that's what sport has got. And have you know, how important has that been for you on your journey?
I mean, it's great to know, like, I always struggled with like failure, like the perception of failure and being perceived as like not achieving what you want to.
Yeah.
So like, I always found when I was younger, I never like said like goals out loud so that like I wasn't perceived as not achieving.
Okay, wow.
So
Is that because if you set the goal and then you happen to not reach it, you felt like a failure?
Yeah, I felt like guilty, like people like were like, oh my God, she could have made this, but she didn't. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like that kind of pressure, like peer pressure on me. So
Wow.
I found I never really said those things out loud.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better at that recently. Like I found, like I really don't care what people think nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
it's more about me being like a better person and like how I can achieve my goals, which
Yeah, that's
is
brilliant.
great.
You're in an individual sport, but we know it takes a village. How important has building relationships and connection with your training group been?
Oh, it's great. Like you have to have a good group and have to all click to like have similar personalities and to make training really enjoyable. It makes you want to turn up. So I really value that I have like such a great group to train with.
Yeah, yeah. You struggled a little bit, didn't you, when you were having to train a lot by yourself? Is that correct?
Yeah, so when I was at school, so my squad predominantly trains between, I think we get there 7:30 in the mornings,
Yeah.
and we train in the water from 8 to 10, and then we get there at 2:30 at night and train 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And then we do gym in between those hours. So when I was in school, that was really difficult for me to do those hours just because of the commitment of school. So I found I think I only did 2 sessions a week out of like the 8 that I was doing with the squad. So like I saw the squad around, but like I never, like I trained earlier or I trained after them. Like it was only like just like a quick few minute chat that we got to have. So I did really struggle with that like last year.
Yeah, wow. And is the struggle from like, were you bored or were you just like you just were craving that connection to like have a laugh or a joke with?
I mean, having a laugh and a joke makes training so much easier. And like I found like it was more just having someone to do it with to help you get through those tough times sometimes, and also help kill the boredom. Like that was really hard for me to just after being like sitting at a desk all day at school to come into training and have just to swim up and down for 5 kilometers wasn't ideal.
No, I bet. Because then you went into the training squad and you were able to make those connections. Tell me what you sometimes did during the lateral kicks exercise.
So we do a lot of lateral kicking training, just like kicking on our side with one arm up, and like we typically face each other because we swim sides in training, so we only have like 2 people in a lane.
Yeah.
We typically play rock paper scissors and have little battles. I've gotten quite good at one of the boys. I beat him quite often.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of myself.
Love that.
Found the little strategy he does. I think he doesn't realize he does it.
Oh, that's just like a little giveaway.
Yeah, he kind of like, he always starts on rock and then he cycles through. So, because he doesn't win. So, sometimes he will like double down on one, but I find like if he picks rock and like I pick paper, I'll pick rock the next time, and I'll just like, then he'll pick scissors and I'll pick scissors the next time. And he doesn't realize he does it, but like it will cycle through like that just the whole way.
Unbelievably intuitive from you.
I'm pretty proud I figured that one out.
And now you've shared it with the world.
Yeah.
I finish these chats with 2 questions. And the first one now takes on a whole new meaning with you, because the question is, what would you say to a young person making their way in the world right now? But that's you, which is great. So I suppose the question to you simply, in your short time in this world, what is something that sticks out that you've learned? Like, what is most important to you as you make your way in this world?
I really learned just like about just keeping going, like all like the 1% matter. I've really learned that like in the last couple of years, like every small detail, every little thing builds up over time and helps like you come closer to achieving your goals. But also just like staying committed, staying diligent is what's really like helped me.
Yeah. I hear it come through. Like you've spoken about commitment, and you've spoken about, the desire to follow things through. And even, something that stood out to me when you said that you left gymnastics, you almost felt like you were quitting. Have you felt like a new resolve? You clearly love your swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Have you felt like a little bit less harsh on yourself as you've grown older?
So definitely like in maybe like the first year or so, like I found I really struggled with like the change, like just that feeling, but I've definitely made the right decision. That was like, I definitely had talent in swimming. I knew that I just had to build on that talent and become a better athlete.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to finish very shortly with my final question, which is the same way I finished with everybody. But what are I'm not necessarily even talking Paris. What are your goals for a career in swimming? I know you don't like talking about goals, but as you look forward, like, what do you hope to achieve from the sport?
I mean, just more senior team representations would be
Yeah.
like wonderful. Like I've moved out of my junior team phase now.
Yep.
That was last year. So just being able to represent Australia on the senior stages and getting to travel the world
Yeah, that
is
is
something
cool.
really cool.
That is really
special.
cool. Do you feel like you belong?
Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm getting there. Like I felt like a bit of an outsider at the Worlds just because of my age and
Yep.
being a rookie on the team. But I really like feeling a bit better and a bit more connected to like the whole of like a senior level.
Yeah.
Because I found like I was stuck in between that. I was in the limbo.
Yeah.
Whereas like just at the camp I've just been on, I found really like I was meant to be there.
Amazing. You say that you felt a bit out of place at the Worlds. Are you talking about the Worlds in Doha earlier this year?
Yeah.
Yet you won a couple of silver medals.
Yeah, I found I flew under the radar quite a bit. Like I got like, I know the athletes, they give out awards at the end of the meet and like they acknowledged me for like being one of like the silent but most deadly people on the team. That was their words.
Yeah, wow.
So I was pretty happy with that. Like I just flew under the radar, got on with I was businesslike and
just doing your thing.
Yeah, just did my thing.
That's cool. Do you get nervous?
Yeah, I found I do get nervous, especially like at big meets like World Championships. But I find you have to keep a pretty level head.
Yeah.
Especially like going through the rounds of heats, semis, and finals.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely need those nerves in going into finals of like a big meet because you need to use some emotion to help you get through. And that I find that really helps me.
Okay, and I sort of feel like that comment is going to help a lot of people because people like to try and push nerves away.
Yeah.
Whereas you've just told me that you actually use the nerves to help you.
Yeah. So I find I do get really nervous and I find like I have to fully write out everything, like my race plan and all that, like detail everything so I know everything to a T before I go into a meet.
Yep.
And then like, so for example, at Worlds before my 100 backstroke heat, I wasn't sure how, that was my first raid of the meet. I didn't know how I was going to do like, so I wrote like a massive message to my coach that night, the night before, just like with my race plan, like detailing every, like it was nearly like meter by meter what I was going to do, which I wouldn't usually do that, but I was really like nervous because he wasn't there. So I did that. And then I found like, once I did my performance, I was like, oh, that was easy. Like I went through quite well. And then I found the semifinals were a lot easier, like not the race, like I found that was a lot harder than the heats.
Yeah, right.
But I managed to obviously make the final, and that was really just like settling down. And then like I was in the final of like at World Championships, like I didn't really that was like the main goal. Like I knew I had like a little rough idea, like I talked over with my coach when I was there. Like I knew I could possibly be on the podium, so it was just kind of letting little emotions slip through and like helping me with the passion and all that, and like helped me get onto the podium.
It's so cool that you actually embrace these feelings as well, rather than sort of be overawed by them.
Yeah.
It is really impressive. What's we're sitting here talking today ahead of the Paris Olympic Games. You're obviously a big chance to be going. How do you feel about that?
Well, I've been pushing it aside. I found for the last couple months. But I think really after nationals, it's really come to the forefront. Like, at training at like in the gym at Waste, they've got like a big projector screen, and it's got like how many days till till Olympic Games and stuff. So that's really like I used to just kind of like not think about it and like just like kind of ignore that little slide on the slideshow. But I've really started looking at it a lot more since I've come back.
Yeah, and does that excite you?
Yeah, a little bit, but obviously got to put in the work in to get there. It's like it's a good little motivational thing during training.
Yeah, awesome. So the last one, and this is a question which means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But as an 18-year-old Iona Anderson, what does success mean to you, and what does it look like?
I mean, success to me is probably just more like how I perceive myself, and like if success is like it's like the small things, like doing a little PB in like training, or like getting a new season best, which is always like something that I that you just like little small wins in life is like success.
That is amazing. And to be honest, I don't think you could have said it any better. The way you perceive yourself, and the way that you have perceived yourself today has been amazing. I am so grateful that we've been able to meet you properly. It's been so much fun getting to know you. Fascinating to hear the insights from such a young person making their way as an elite athlete. I've got that extra soft spot for you because you're a West Aussie.
Yeah.
You're also a Duncraig local, which I love. And we're all behind you as you chase this Olympic dream, whether you make it this year, whether you don't, whatever happens in the future, we are all behind you. Thank you so much for spending time with us here today. All the best. We can't wait to follow your journey.
Great. Thank you for having me.